Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today the Padres take on the Athletics in the second game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup tonight for the A's, right-hander JT Ginn, and for the Padres, right-hander Lucas Giolito. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40 p.m. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. I go one-on-one with Padres reliever Jeremiah Estrada. We check in with Bob Scanlon on the radio broadcast tonight in just a little bit. Our keys to today's game, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today 30-20. They've won 8 of their past 12 games. Padres in the midst of a tough 9-game homestand, 2 more against the A's and then 3 against the Phillies this coming week. A's, meanwhile, 26-25. They had a 3-game win streak snap last night. A's entering today in first place in the American League West, a game and a half up on the Mariners and Rangers. Padres picked up a game on the Dodgers yesterday. Padres winning, Dodgers losing. They're a half game out of first place now in the National League West. Well, the series opener here last night on what became a festive Friday here in downtown San Diego. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Padres trailed 2-0 in the first inning last night, but not for long, courtesy of Manny Machado.
Here's the 0-1. Machado swings, hammers it deep to left field. Soderstrom's back. Guess what? It's going to go. Got him again. Manny Machado, a game-tying 2-run homer here in the bottom of the first inning.
Padres trail 3-2 going to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Nick Castellanos dug in.
Now Nick Castellanos, 3-2 A's in the 5th inning. And Nick gets a hanging breaking ball, sends it in the air, deep down the left field line, trying to keep it fair, and he does! Off the bricks, a home run! Castellanos a solo shot to tie it. In the bottom of the 5th inning, it's 3-3. Talk about slim margins down the left field line. That foul pole basically painted onto the Western Metal Building, and he hit it.
A 3-3 game after 5 innings. Walker Buehler allowing 3 runs in 5 innings of work. We still had a 3-3 game going to the bottom half of the 7th inning. A's starter Jeffrey Springs was still out there. He faced Ramon Laureano.
3-2 to Laureano, the pitch. Ramon swings, hits it in the air, deep to left field. Soderstrom is back. He's at the wall looking up. This one, gonna go! Ramon Laureano gets his old team. Hits the 3rd Padre home run of the night. It's a go-ahead job in the 7th. And the Padres lead for the first time tonight. It's 4-3.
Padres had a 4-3 lead going to the 8th inning. They added on. The bases were loaded for Gavin Sheets.
Bases loaded, nobody out. Padres lead 4-3. Here's the pitch. And Sheets hits it on the ground through the left side and a base hit. Duran has scored. Fernando's on his way. The throw comes in towards third base. It's a 2-run single for Gavin Sheets, and the Padre lead is 6-3.
Padres got another run in that 8th inning to make it 7-3. Plenty of breathing room. Didn't have to use Mason Miller. Jeremiah Estrada came in, got the final 3 outs of the game. Padres went on to win by that final score of 7-3, taking the series opener last night here against the A's. And now we turn the page to Game 2 of this 3-game series coming up in just a little bit. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a variety of ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and if you have a key to tonight's game, let me know what that key is, and I may very well just read it live here on the air. As we get ready for the middle game of this 3-game set, let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Bob Scanlon in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
All right, Bob, welcome into our pregame coverage on what is a beautiful Saturday here in downtown San Diego. Let's begin with the guy in the mound for the Padres today, right-hander Lucas Giolito, about to make his second start as a Padre, his Petco Park debut in the brown and gold. Bob, what did you take away from his first outing of the season, his Padres debut, and what do you anticipate from Lucas Giolito here tonight?
Exactly what we expected, isn't it? Just a veteran presence on that mound. And it was one of those games where he didn't have his best fastball. He knows he has a little bit more velo in the tank. He hopes to find that today, Sam, but it didn't matter because he knows how to pitch. He's got a great changeup. He was able to command his off-speed pitches. And even though there were some times where he found himself behind in the count, again, didn't panic, used his off-speed to get himself back into some counts and get the outs that he needed. So I just thought it was a veteran effort all the way around and expect more of the same today, maybe with a little bit more velo to go with it.
Yeah, I want to dive into that changeup because he used it quite a bit. It seemed to be really effective for him. To you, what made that changeup in particular really effective, and how does he use it in particular to get some outs?
No, he can use it at any time. He can use it for first pitch strikes. He can use it when he's behind him and count, and I think that's the key thing, right? I mean, that's really what off-speed is all about, is being able to throw something in a fastball count when the hitter's looking for a piece of cheese and you're able to sell it and he thinks it's another fastball. The next thing you know, he's either swinging over the top or even better, in my opinion, is the soft contact out to get yourself through the at-bat. He sells it. He's got great arm motion. It's been an important pitch for him his entire career. It's not as though it's one of those pitches that, just in the last few years he's figured it out. He's always had that good changeup. So he owns it. You know, it's one of those things where he knows anytime he goes out there that even if the fastball is 3 to 4 miles an hour short on a given day, usually the changeup is going to be also a little bit softer. And so he still gets that 10-mile-an-hour spread, and he's still able to get the soft contact and the swing and misses out of it. So, but the other part of it, Sam, is, of course, just being veteran enough to know how to stay calm, how to be able to sell it, not to panic in those situations because, even when the hitter is in that driver's seat, he thinks he's in the driver's seat, but he really isn't because he got a little something for him to get him off balance.
Bob, switching gears to the starter on the mound for the Athletics tonight, right-hander JT Ginn. He had a really fascinating outing on Monday in Anaheim. He took a no-hitter into the 9th inning, but then gave up a single, first hit of the game for the Angels, and 3 pitches later, Zach Neto hit a walk-off home run. So it went from no-hit bid in the 9th inning to a loss for JT Ginn. You look at his overall numbers. He's got a sub-3 ERA in more than 50 innings this year. What can you tell us about JT Ginn?
Boy, that last outing, one of those castle to outhouse situations, right? Yeah. I mean, you're sitting there thinking, I'm going to walk out of this game with a 1-0 victory, no-hitter, which is really something to brag about. And instead, he's walking off, with a loss on his belt. And that's a tough one, no doubt about it. That being said, this kid, and I'll talk about it more in the broadcast in more depth, Sam, but basically he's made a lot of changes. He's always had a really good sinker. He's always had a good slider, but he's been able to add some other pitches to that repertoire, which has really taken him to the next level. So last night, his last outing, I should say, not really a fluke. He's been solid all season long because he's doing some things differently and better than he's done in the past. And that's certainly another force that's going to have to be reckoned with. The Padres have faced a lot of sinker ballers, especially early in the season, and we know that it's been an issue trying to get the ball off the ground, and they're going to have another challenge with that again tonight.
Yeah, mentioning the offense and the sinker, I think it's good to bring up. The Padres are hitting home runs. We saw 3 more last night. There was a part of the game last night where he actually looked at it, going back to the Dodgers series. They had scored 9 consecutive runs on home runs. The power all of a sudden is coming scanned. So what have you noticed about the Padres offense in that regard the last handful of games?
They're not missing the pitches that they could potentially get out of the ballpark, right? I mean, whether it's a 3-2 changeup that Laureano saw because he saw a bunch of changeups in the previous plate appearance and he struck out swinging at him. So, he made the adjustment. He got one that he was able to get in the air. So I think it's that. Manny Machado's same thing. Fastball up and out over the plate. That's a pitch that you can drive. And so I think the Padres are just doing a better job of taking advantage of those opportunities. And, granted, you're not going to get that many opportunities at this level. They faced a lot of tough pitching. Jesse did a great job last night of explaining that it's not just our imagination. When you actually mathematically and analytically look at it, the Padres have faced just consistently some of the toughest pitching of any offense that's had to face, this season. So there's some validity to what's been going on as well. But I feel like, okay, when you get those opportunities, you got to take advantage of them. They've been doing a better job of that lately, and hopefully that continues into tonight and moving forward, Sam.
All right, Scans, good stuff as always. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 6:30 for Game 2 of this 3-game set against the A's. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sam.
All right, Bob Scanlon joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. First pitch is coming up at 6:40. Lot to do between now and then. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We'll take our first look at the Padres lineup today. A little bit later, I go one-on-one with Padres reliever Jeremiah Estrada. Our keys to today's game, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more on what should be a fun night here in downtown San Diego. Fireworks after the game. The sun is shining. A little bit cool out today, so if you're on the way to the game right now, maybe you haven't left home yet, I would recommend bringing just a light jacket. It's a little cool already, even in the sunshine. So a little bit cool, probably cool down a little bit as the evening rolls along. So just a little tip for you there. First pitch coming up at 6:40 as we get ready for tonight's game from Petco Park on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Right-hander Lucas Giolito about to make his Padre debut here at home. Of course, he made his debut in the brown and gold on Sunday against the Mariners, but now making his first start at Petco Park as a Padre. First pitch coming up at 6:40. As always, our pregame coverage brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. That's 760-350-3338. Take a look at the Padres lineup today. Looks like this. Leading off for the Padres, Fernando Tatis Jr. back at second base. Miguel Andujar DHing today, batting second. Gavin Sheets in left field, batting third. Manny Machado at third base, batting cleanup. Nick Castellanos in right field, batting fifth. Jackson Merrill back in the lineup today. That's good news. In center field, batting sixth. Ty France at first base, batting seventh. Freddie Fermin, the catcher, batting eighth. And Sung Moon Song, the shortstop, batting ninth. No Xander Bogaerts in the lineup today. And Jackson, after he came out of Wednesday's game against the Dodgers, after leaping up against the center field fence and really hitting it hard with his back, he missed yesterday's game, but certainly very good to see Jackson back in there tonight. With all that in mind, let's hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Craig, let's start with a couple of lineup notes. Jackson Merrill back in there today, assuming he's all recovered from what happened the other day.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's back and ready to go. He was fighting to play yesterday and fighting to stay in the game on Wednesday. So good thing with the off day, yesterday for him to kind of recoup and get ready and be ready for today.
Xander Bogaerts out of the lineup today, just a day off for Xander.
Yep, trying to rest him a little bit. He's been going at it pretty hard ever since Crony's been down. He's had to play a lot of shortstop, doesn't really have that backup shortstop that we had. Song's going to fill in today, going to be great.
Song at shortstop. It's not a position that was super familiar to him coming over from Korea. What's given you the confidence that he can go over there and do a good job? And also a comment on his willingness to go play shortstop.
Yeah, his willingness has been able to play anywhere at any point. He's been open and honest about that, which has been great. Very team-oriented type guy. And then when he was down in AAA, he was playing all over and playing shortstop, and we felt very comfortable at, kind of all four of the infield positions. And, it gives us an opportunity to give Xander a day off and, collect himself and get a little bit of a breather.
Giolito making his second start as a Padre, first start as a Padre here at Petco Park. What were your impressions from his outing in Seattle?
Yeah, he did great. Kept his pitch count down for 5 innings against a tough lineup. Really handled them well. The changeup was really working and, made his fastball play even better and then mixed in the off speed. So more of that today. Expect him to have a good time here pitching in Petco, as most pitchers do.
He talked after the game about having a little bit of a sour taste as to how that outing ended. Is that something as he builds up, gets back into the rhythm of pitching every 5-6 days that you expect will improve him kind of finishing outings when he gets towards the end?
Yeah, you know what? It's always good to have something that you can work on when you leave a good outing. And, that bad taste in his mouth probably, got him working hard this week and, was trying to think to himself, how am I going to finish the next game a little bit better? So looking forward to him doing that today.
The offense has shown a lot more power last handful of games. Do you feel like it is something where the process is now leading to the results, or is this lineup doing something different or better over the course of the last handful of games?
Yeah, I think definitely tried to double down on the process that we've had over the course of the season. We felt really good about our messaging and how we've been preparing for games and how these guys have been preparing in the cage. And we're just going to trust that and know that eventually that work's going to pay off. And, some of the home runs are a byproduct of that, but more importantly, better at bats and line drives will be, a telltale sign that we're dialed in.
As a former pitcher, would you take your pitchers having a sour taste if you get a 5-run inning that they had to sit down for 25 minutes every time?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a professional no matter what the circumstance there on the mound, and handle all types of circumstances. Some that are harder than others. But, sometimes having a little bit of like, all right, I'm not as good as I thought I was after an outing, and being able to have to sit on that for 4 days isn't a bad thing at all.
What did seeing him in person and the way that he can use the changeup and where he can use it? What impressed you about the way he pitches?
One is like he's comfortable with who he is. He knows how to pitch with his stuff. He's not searching for anything, and his experience and was just on display, in my opinion. Like knowing when to use his elite pitch at the right times and the right moments, and being able to get out of jams when he needed to. And I think that really the first at bat of the entire game spoke a little bit of his confidence in his stuff. He gets down 3-1 and throws a 3-1 changeup. First batter of the game. Not too many guys are going to do that unless they know that that's their pitch and they can command it the way he can. So that got off to a good start that way, and when he went from there after that.
That's affirming, right? Like that's what you guys expected that you were going to see it.
Yeah, you never know. You can't say you expect those types of things without a spring training, without a normal ramp up to a season. Usually you kind of know who a pitcher is by having them in spring training. This was a little bit in the dark, as far as us not being able to work with them every single day throughout the process. But we knew enough about him, trust enough about him. Front office did a great job, backfilling and trying to figure out who this guy was and what he was about, and made a good decision to sign him. And we're lucky we have Lucas Giolito on our roster.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Before we continue on, let's quickly pause for station identification on the Padres radio network.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
This is Freddy Fermin from the San Diego Padres. You are listening to Padres Baseball on the Padres Radio Network.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
First pitch coming up at 6:40. Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the A's. Everybody having a good time here inside the loft at the Western Metal Building. It is packed in here. We've got our loyal listener, Rod, right there coming up to say hello. Hello, Rod. Good to see you. We've got Rod's friends. All right, nice. I've got a few guys here drinking beers in front of me. Very nice guys that said hello. So everybody having a good time tonight, getting ready for what should be a fun Saturday evening. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Let's begin with a look at the hot category. Miguel Andujar in that category right now. Hits in 9 of his last 10 games, batting .300 in that span with 4 doubles, 3 home runs, and 7 RBIs. Gavin Sheets also in the hot category today. His last 10 games hitting .429 with 4 home runs, a double, and 10 RBIs. Andujar and Sheets batting .230 in the Padres lineup today. The not category, well, Jackson Merrill back in the lineup, but Jackson's been going through it as of late. 2 for 28 in his last 8 games. Freddie Fermin back in the lineup today as well. He is 0 for his last 13. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not, as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up at 6:40. Now let's take a quick look at some Major League headlines as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Couple of notes from the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll take a full look at the scoreboard coming up a little bit later. Cubs lost to the Houston Astros today, 3-0, the 7th loss in a row for the Chicago Cubs. Another note from that game, Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez came out of the game with back spasm. Sounds like he'll get a day off tomorrow. George Springer hit his 65th career leadoff home run against Paul Skeens and the Pirates today. And the Blue Jays handing the Pirates a 5-2 loss today in Toronto. Blue Jays got off to a slow start this year. but the reigning American League champions, they've now won 4 in a row in 7 of their last 10 games. Yankees right-hander Garrett Cole returned to the mound last night after coming back from elbow surgery, a 569-day absence, and he looked like Garrett Cole last night, 6 shutout innings against the Rays. And again, a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a little bit, but that's a look at some of the quick headlines from around Major League Baseball. When we come back, we have our keys to today's game, plus I go one-on-one with Padres reliever Jeremiah Estrada. First pitch coming up at 6:40 right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Hey friends, it's Woodsy here.
America's finest city, downtown San Diego, the spot. Petco Park. Padres getting ready to take on the Athletics. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Sam Levitt with you on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Let's give you an update on the Padres injuries entering tonight's game.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, the most significant news involving today's game, Jackson Merrill, after coming out of Wednesday's game against the Dodgers after crashing into the center field fence. He banged up his back. He missed yesterday's game to open up this series against the A's. But the good news, Jackson feeling better, back in the lineup and playing center field here tonight. So Jackson back in the Padres lineup. Aside from that, not a ton of other news regarding the guys on the IL right now. Luis Campusano still on the IL with that left big toe fracture. German Marquez on the IL with that right forearm nerve irritation. Matt Waldron with the right brachialis strain. Jake Cronenworth still on the concussion IL. And when we get updates on those guys, we will pass them along. But most importantly here tonight, Jackson Merrill back in the Padres lineup. Now let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on around the major leagues on this Saturday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a couple of games going on right now. Reds lead the Cardinals 6-4 in Cincinnati in the 6th inning. Dodgers ahead of the Brewers 4-3 in Milwaukee in the 6th inning. We have a number of finals already. Cardinals beating the Reds 8-1 in game 1 of that doubleheader today in Cincinnati. As we said, game 2 going on right now. The Astros blanked the Cubs 3-0 in Chicago. Cubs losing a 7th in a row. Blue Jays beating the Pirates 5-2 in Toronto. Blue Jays winning a 4th in a row. Phillies beating the Guardians 3-0 in Philadelphia. Giants 10, White Sox 3 in San Francisco today. Twins beating the Red Sox 4-2 at Fenway. Marlins beating the Mets again 4-1 in Miami. Washington blanking Atlanta 2-0 in Atlanta today. Royals beating the Mariners 5-0 in Kansas City earlier today. Stephen Kolek, the former Padre, throwing a complete game shutout in that game for Kansas City. 2 postponements today. Rays and the Yankees, they were rained out in New York. They'll make that game up in September. And finally, Tigers and Orioles in Baltimore also rained out. They'll make that up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow. And that is a quick full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have much more on all those games coming up a little bit later in our post-game coverage. Well, the Padres bullpen continues to be terrific. They were on full display last night. You talk about all these high-leverage relievers, whether it be Mason Miller or Jason Adam or Jeremiah Estrada or Adrian Morejon or Bradley Rodriguez. It is a group that is a major, major strength of this ball club. Jeremiah Estrada, since coming off the IL in early May, has been much, much better after he got off to kind of a tough start to his season, a 2.08 ERA in 8 appearances since coming off the IL. Jeremiah Estrada continues to be a key member out of the Padre bullpen. I caught up with Jeremiah earlier today. Sam Levitt here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. And right now I'm joined by Padres reliever Jeremiah Estrada. Well, Jeremiah, since coming off the IL, the results for you have been really, really good. When you reflect on coming off the IL and what you've been able to do, what do you boil down the success to so far?
Main reason is for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be blessed with the opportunity to have such great staff around me. Having the teammates that we have, this team really encourages you to want to get back on that field, just the way these guys are, the camaraderie we have, the love that's in this locker room, it's different. I know many other locker rooms out there could possibly be the same, but for me, you can see the difference that it made. Once I got over here, it felt like home. And just the staff, the pitching staff, the training staff especially, they took good care of me and really took the time to just, help me get better. And I'm just blessed to be here. And I'm grateful to God to just the people that he's guided me in my life and the people that he's brought into my life.
First and foremost, you got to get healthy to get back on the field. But it sounds like you're really inspired to get back when you're missing time because of the guys you have in this clubhouse.
This is a brotherhood that you have here. It's as far as we are from our actual families at home, this is your new family here. And it's a good group of guys that make it feel like home here. I see some guys here that, say you're supposed to be here at 2:00. You got guys who are here at 12:30, just wanting to be here with the boys. That's when it's family. And I may not be the best at it. I'm still learning. So young, at the end of the day, we still learn how to do things throughout our career and within just life, But I'm starting to learn from it too, just seeing how these veterans and just seeing how, not even the veterans, you got a guy who's younger than me named Jackson Merrill, who's the biggest clubhouse guy and team guy there is, But then, of course, there's different households that we grew up in, different socialized activities that we had when we were growing up, and just a lot different. But sooner or later, you come and go, and you just learn so that there's a lot of love here. It's baseball, but it's a lot different here.
Speaking of teammates and camaraderie, this is a really special bullpen from the perspective of a fan, a broadcaster. I look at these games, and when it's tied or you guys have a late lead, you're sitting there thinking, Padres got a real good chance to win this game because there are so many great arms in that bullpen, including yourself. Can you take me inside sort of the collective mindset of this bullpen when it comes to you and Adrian and Jason and Mason and Brad Glay and all these arms that have had so much success out of this pen?
Yeah, man, we have 8 elite bullpen guys in that bullpen, every guy can go out there and do their thing. That's the faith that we have. That's the faith we have in each other. I know baseball itself has their ways of who to put in the game, but we're all capable of here. There's 1% that make this game, and the guys that are up here are here for a reason. And the love that we have for each other, it's also a thing out there too. I'm around these guys and the bullpen more than anybody in this locker room. I'm out there we got to do something as we're sitting out there waiting for our time to get in the game, so it's cool to see where these guys come from, the cultures, the different camaraderie, the likings, it's really cool, because this game is all seriousness, but sometimes you can't take it too much. We got 160 something games, got spring training. It's a long season, it's but the trust that we have with our guys, it builds the confidence with just it's cool to just see how much love we have, I mean, it's hard to even talk more baseball. It's about the relationship we have with this locker room, and I love these guys, and I think we could get through it this year. We get through these tough times. We're all warriors, and we all have each other's back no matter what situation happens. I mean, of course, we're not perfect. This game's hard, and it's understandable to know how some things cannot work out at times, but we always pick each other up. And if those times where we can't, there's times where I can't do it. I just lack at something, and it's a sucky feeling. But that's the best part about it, is it hurts as us to do something that couldn't help our guy out. There's some people who could not care, for their own sake. But here, it's immediate, just damn, I hate not only just giving up runs for myself, but for my teammates to come in and get their backs. That's my brother right there. And if I couldn't accomplish that, get their backs and not allow a run, it hurts more than giving up myself.
We're joined by Padres reliever Jeremiah Estrada here on the Padres Radio Network. You've talked here a lot about sort of the emotional side of being a teammate, of playing a game and pitching. When it comes to bouncing back after tough outings, is that something that was difficult for you coming up through the minors in the early part of your major league career, or is it something you've always been pretty good at bouncing back after when you have a tough outing?
When it comes to just life itself, and I'm gonna get very biblical here, in faith, God will put us through these challenges that we may not think that it's a challenge, but it could be the littlest one and the biggest one. It could be deaths, it could be injuries, it could be anything, but these type of challenges are the ones where he tests us, where when something goes bad, where does your mind go? And it goes straight to either blaming or straight to, all right, let's get the next one. All right, let's get the next one, And in baseball, I feel like it's a God-created sport. The way this game is so humbling, the way this game can just teach you to, even if you're perfect at something, even if you throw a perfect pitch, whether if it's a dotted here or dotted up and in, and next thing you know, it don't matter. You can't always be perfect. You'll get humbled immediately, and someone will take you right center field. You'll throw a disgusting splitter inside that you didn't accidentally, and then next thing you know, the next one, it accidentally goes right there again, and the guy will take a deep. I mean, it just happened recently, and it's unfortunate. Just some of the situations that we end up in, in my situation, it's, I hate to bring up that team, and my goodness, but the Dodgers, it's weird to see how good of a year I had my first year, and then these past last year, and then the first outing here, it's it's repetitive with the runs, and it's sucks to say, at any point when it's contact to be made with that, it's over the fence, and I hate it, but it's, I think in my ways was, you can't do it your way, and you can't do it yourself. You gotta always leave it in God's hands. That's just my belief, I know not everybody's the same, but at some point I feel like we should all be on the same page with our Lord and Savior, but when it comes to just failure, it comes to just this game, when it's on learning how to bounce back, it's the same situation as that. You don't want to give up on our Lord, and he will put us through these tests, and each and every day I'll say, it's kind of like that movie Hacksaw Ridge, just please God help me get one more. We live to go another day, and we live to get better. And each day, no matter what struggles we have, we got to learn how to flush it. That's life. You got to just learn how to do it. you know, whether if you need to pray about it or whatever it is, you know, just go on and live it up and give all glory to God and just go out there and do what you're blessed to do.
Jeremiah, appreciate the conversation as always. Thank you for your honesty, your insight. Best of luck with everything coming up, both on and off the field, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was Padres reliever Jeremiah Estrada earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. Jeremiah, part of a very, very strong Padre bullpen. We'll see how that Padre bullpen gets utilized in Game 2 of this 3-game series. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number 1, more mashing. The Padres are in the midst of a power surge. First 38 games of the season, 35 home runs. Past 12 games, they've hit 24 home runs. So that's 2 homers per game in the last 12. And you can see it just in the way guys are individually swinging it right now. Manny Machado has homered in 2 of the past 3 games. Nick Castellanos has 3 home runs in his last 9 games. He only hit 1 homer in his first 24 games of the season. Ramon Laureano homered yesterday, just his 2nd home run since mid-April. So the Padres are hitting the long ball with much more regularity as of late. And guess what? Home runs are cool. Home runs are good. And they help you win games. More mashing is key number 1. Key number 2, a good Giolito. Lucas Giolito makes his 2nd start for the Padres here tonight. He looked sharp in his debut on Sunday in Seattle. Gave up 3 runs on only 1 hit in 5 innings in that 8-3 win over the M's. He struck out 3. He also walked 3 and hit a batter. But if Giolito has those kinds of results here today, something close to it, that would be a very good thing for Giolito and the Padres. Key number 3, get to Ginn. We talked about this earlier with Bob Scanlon, but today's starter for the A's, JT Ginn, took a no-hitter into the 9th inning on Monday in Anaheim, but somehow ended up on the losing end. The A's had a 1-0 lead. Ginn had a no-hitter in the 9th inning, like I said. A single, and then 3 pitches later, Zach Neto hit a game-winning home run for the Angels. It went from a potential no-hitter to a loss. So that was a rough ending for JT Ginn. But Ginn is having a really good year, a 2.98 ERA and more than 50 innings on the season. He's also really, really tough on righties, a 177 opponent batting average for right-handers against Ginn. So keep an eye on the right-handed matchups against Ginn. Can guys like Manny and Andujar and Fernando and Castellanos and France, Fermin, can they get something going off JT Ginn? That's what to watch for in today's game, that's our keys to today's game as we get ready for first pitch at 6:40. Speaking of what to watch for, we'll tell you what to watch for when we come back on the Padres Radio Network.
Keep it locked to
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch is coming up at 6:40. Right-hander Lucas Giolito on the mound for the Padres as they go for a second consecutive win against the Athletics. Let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for in tonight's game? Can the Padres continue to limit the A's running game and really just opposing running games? They've done a great job at maintaining the running games of other teams as far as throwing out attempted base stealers. Padre catchers lead the league with 15 caught stealings, while their catchers' 38.3% caught stealing rate ranks second in the major leagues, and Rodolfo Duran threw out another attempted base stealer last night. So we'll see here today if the Padres can continue to really limit the opposing running game. Padres have been very good in that department as of late, and it proves it out in the numbers. So we'll see how the Padres do in that department here tonight. That's what to watch for in today's game. Again, first pitch coming up at 6:40 here on the Padres Radio Network. And as always, we appreciate you listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Padres come in a record of 30-20. The A's come in a record of 26-25. Padres winning the series opener last night. A good ball game, 7-3. What's in store here tonight with right-hander Lucas Giolito on the mound? We're going to find out. When we come back, we hear from Jesse Ackler, Bob Scanlon. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Sid's Carpet Barn is San